on the rig. It has to do with the rear end. So this is not, we're on the side of the road waiting for a tow truck right now. So we're in Letchworth State Park, which is just about 45 minutes south of where we were up in Henrietta. So we're not really that far. So I'll wait for some other people to jump on here, and I'll share all the grisly details of what just happened. I hope everybody's doing well. We've just come out of a multi-day rainstorm that has just pummeled this area. And of course, including the day that I was packing up the rig, the 2 days that we packed up, we spent 4 straight days of rain and cloud cover, no sun at all. It was just miserable. So we finally broke out of that. We spent 3 days here down at this camp, kind of a shakedown run. And aren't I glad I did this, right? Aren't I glad I did a shakedown run? Because we got problems. One of which is the cost of the tow truck bill. I called the tow service that the shop uses. I called Harry, the guy that did the work on the rear end. I called him first thing, told him what's going on. He said he doesn't recommend I drive it based on what I told him. And so he told me which tow company they use. So I called them. The guy said they'll be here within 2 hours. That was 15 minutes ago. I just called them. So luckily we're off the side of the road here, and I'll show you, but I think as soon as I walk away from my cell booster, it might cut out. I might drop everybody, but I will show you the thumbnail. I think the thumbnail shows I got off the side of the road. So we're still in the park. We were just kind of winding our way out of the park. Let me see if I can get chat opened up here. I'm sorry. I'm a little bit disheveled from all of this. Yeah, not a good start. Stuck on the road. Yep. Heart sinks at the title. Well, I wanted to summarize it in case I wasn't able to get a good cell signal to share the story. But so, since all the work was done on the rig, what Harry did, and then all the work that I did, the truck's been fine. We drove down here a few days ago, and it's 50 miles down to here. And I had been driving it around town on test drives and stuff, and everything was fine. All the suspension work that I did is pretty much bolt-on stuff. As long as you get it bolted on, it's all going to work. And everything had been fine. And so we packed up to leave the camp this morning, and we're winding our way out of the park. And so there's a little uphills, downhills, windy road, not a big deal. And we came up an uphill, and I'm only doing 35 miles an hour. And we came up the uphill, and it was a 30-second climb, but a pretty steep one. And then we leveled out. And after we leveled out, we came about 30 or 40 yards, and all of a sudden, clunk, 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 clunk. And I could feel it, it was affecting the motion of the truck. So I'm drivetrain, right? U-joint, drive shaft, rear end. That's immediately what I thought of. The engine is still running fine. So I stopped immediately. Okay, sorry again. And got out, looked underneath the truck. From the pinion of the rear end, it was smoking. It had gotten really hot, and it's smoking, which stopped after a few minutes. There's no fluid that leaked out or anything. So luckily, after I looked around and I didn't see anything that was catastrophic, like my shock came unbolted or anything like that. Everything is still where it's supposed to be. because the rear end looks super hot. So I got in the truck, I put it in reverse and backed up. It didn't make any noises. And then put it in drive. I was able to get off the side of the road over here. There's a little like dirt road that connects up that we're pulled off on. And it didn't make any noises in both reverse and drive, but I'm not gonna drive it. So, you know, the smoking stopped. So, you know, the troubleshooting mind of me is we did a really steep climb, which, I don't know. We've done a lot of mountain climbing in this truck. That's not unusual, but I'm super curious to see what the issue is. Trying to keep the chat running here, folks. I'm sorry. Very hard. Yes, totally a bummer, Gibber. This is the first time that we've had a like side of the road incident in the rig. So, you know, over 3 years of driving it, this is the first time that we've been stuck on the side of the road. So I can't super complain about that. We're not, you know, we're not injured and we're okay. And yeah, we are in Letchworth State Park. We're about, you know, 45 miles south of where we were in Henrietta. This was a shakedown trip and camping for 3 days to make sure that everything was good. And I did find a couple things inside the rig that I want to change just based on the first few days. Little things, not big deal, but so I'm glad that we did this. The truck is 20 years old. This is an 02. So it's 20 years old. I'm really curious, you know, I hope it's not the transmission. But the fact that the rear end was smoking like that just makes me think that it's the rear end. And from the way it felt and sounded, it sounded like it was coming from back, you know, at the rear of the truck. Gibber says he's been there. Stuart, shakedown runs. Yes. I'm really glad we did this. Well, today the plan was we were heading back up to Mom's house. I had to pick up one last package that got delivered, and then we were jumping on the thruway, Interstate 90, and we were heading west to meet a friend of mine in Colorado. That's what we were doing today. That's where we were on our way. If that had gone to plan, we would be up at Mom's right now, picking up our package and then hitting the interstate. So that just changed all of our plans. And unfortunately, Mom has house guests now. One of Howard's daughters is in town. So the bedroom I was sleeping in is no longer available. So we're going to have to... You want to get inside, buddy? I'm sorry. Lefty's trying to climb his way up in there. Hold on, bud. Hold on. You want to get up? What are you doing? You know, I'm trying to maintain my calmness because he gets really jacked up when I get wound up. So I'm trying to maintain that he doesn't get all wound up. And, you know, we're not injured. We're not like in the middle of an inhospitable area. We're only a few minutes from a town. Actually, if we had to walk out of here, we could walk to town. So, and the tow truck's on its way. And I called the service shop after I talked to Harry. I called Harry on his private cell number, and then I called the shop and told them I was having the truck towed in. So I want to, you know, get it in there and get it fixed. So I'm going to have to get us a hotel room, unless my daughter wants me to stay at her place, but I don't think she has a spare bed, so we'd have to sleep on the floor. What are you doing? Are you freaked out? But we're doing okay. I'm just really happy that this happened, close somewhat, that I can get it back to the shop. And you know what? Of all the things that failed, it's the one job that I didn't do myself, right? just just by things that I did out in the rear end, the shocks or the airbags or the sway bar bushings, that something like that had come apart. So that's the first thing I was looking at. But everything is where it's supposed to be, and had obviously overheated rear end, which, I could see if the rear end got hot for the first time, it would cook off the grease and stuff from where Harry was working on it. I could see that, but why did it get so hot? That I don't understand. I'm not an expert at it. I'm having trouble getting the chat. There it is. Well, yeah, maybe it'll be warranty work. Yeah, I hope so. I'll have to open it up and see what's going on. And I want them to, if it is warranty work, I want them to cover the tow bill, because, they got to drive down here, because they're based out of back up in Henrietta area. So they've got to drive down here, pick me up, and then drive it back. So it's like 45 miles each way. They got to use the heavy, whatever kind of tow truck they got. I told them how big it is and how heavy it is and all that. No, I do not have AAA. So it's gonna hurt. Hope Lefty wasn't drifting in the rig again while you were napping, right? He could have been out there spinning it sideways. Can you tow it on the rear axle with a failure there? Well, I think they're gonna. I told them it's the rear end, so I'm sure they're gonna have to. They're bringing a flatbed to put it up on, because you can't. I would think. This can go on a flatbed rig, a heavy flatbed truck. Yeah, I think so, Mike. Yeah. So that's where we're at. We've got another hour and a half-ish waiting on the tow truck. Rollback, is that what it's called? That's the flatbed rollback. Yeah, Barry. Yep. AAA is a lifesaver. Yeah. Okay, that's where we're at. Everything else had been going fine. All the actually, the truck just drives like a dream. I loaded it up, put the better than it ever has. I had 40 airbags, so I can play around with that to see if it's better or less. But it handled like a dream coming down Interstate 390 down here. But it was only 45-mile drive. So, but it drove better than it ever had, and that was fully loaded. Like, I could not have put all this stuff out on the rear end before. It was all squirrely on the front end, but it still was very planted. It felt great. Really stinks. Really upset my plans. I had told Lefty this morning, I said by this evening when we go to sleep, we'll be 2 states away. Well, not today. Not today, but soon enough. Red Roof Inn, Henrietta, free pets and Wi-Fi, not too scuzzy. I know exactly where you're talking about. What work that I have done on the rear? He did the pinion seal, pinion bearing, and the other rear end bearings where the axles come in. That was all redone just, recently. So I don't know if any of that could have failed. I don't know. How'd the new sway bar handle versus stock one? The front end it's like a totally different truck. I got to get used to driving this thing all over again, because it feels totally different. When I was coming down the interstate, I barely had my hand on the steering wheel, because it's it just tracks nice and true. I wasn't getting wandering side to side like I used to. Wonder if there was not enough fluid in the diff. I don't see anything leaking, and I don't see any spillage on the ground. I looked for that. I walked up and down the road. But I don't know how much he put in it. I mean, it's on the work order that he put it in there, but don't know. On the bright side, I got more content. Yeah, this is not the kind of video. Desert van life. Yeah, I had a catastrophic noise come out of the rear end and smoke. And so we're on the side of the road waiting on the tow truck. Yeah. Roll back, roll back. Having an emergency fund. Yes. Yeah, if I credit card is what, you can get out of a jam with a credit card. You just got to pay the bill at the end of the month. So at least I'll get my what is it, my 2% cash back on the tow charge. Yes, I hope. I'm going back through the comments here. Pray it's not the tranny, you and me both. Seeing the smoke come off the rear end just makes me focus, and it felt like sounded like it was coming from back there, but could be the transmission. Gosh, I hope not. Yeah, I'm really lucky that we were right where there was this is like a gravel road that then connects up to the road we were on. So I was able to back it up real slow and then pull over onto this road. And a couple of Park Service trucks have gone by, but they haven't stopped because I kind of looked like I was walking the dog, Yep, 2% cash back on my catastrophe. This He's not happy. We were supposed to be out on an adventure today. What a bummer. Good luck for a speedy recovery. Sounds like a differential pinion bearing failure. He supposedly, well, I mean, he replaced the bearing and he checked the preload on it and it was within spec. That's what all the paperwork said. So super frustrated. I don't want to overthink it until they take it apart, Nothing is going to change the fact that we're getting on a tow truck. That's all going to happen. There's nothing I can do. And so I'm trying not to overthink it and get myself all wound up. Yeah, I guess it is an adventure. And when we come out the other side of all this, I'll look back on it and be like, well, we made it through that, right? It could have been worse, could have been better. So the worst case scenario is that the transmission let go, right? And none of us want that to be the case. Best case scenario, that something happened in the rear end and it's covered under that warranty work for the shop, and they cover the tow charge, right? That'd be the best case scenario. I'm sure it's going to fall somewhere in between. Live chat. Okay. I think I'm going to end this. We're going to go walk around and kind of cool down for a little bit, let Lefty stretch his legs, and Wait for this tow truck. I'll work on giving y'all an update later on, let you know what I find out. So everybody have a great day. Wish us luck. And thanks for jumping on here and letting me ramble for a little bit. Everybody have a great day.